Crossing into Cabinda felt like stepping into a chapter that few travelers ever read. A small Angolan enclave tucked between borders, known more for its oil wealth than its streets or skyline. But on the ground, Cabinda is simple. A quiet town with slow-moving traffic, faded buildings, and a rhythm that barely stirs. We wandered through its center, taking in a place that feels more like a footnote than a headline. Interesting on the map, but less so in person. Still, there was something peaceful about it. By the sunset, we found ourselves walking along the beach, the sky turning gold over a coastline that seemed almost empty. A calm pause in the middle of our long journey. And here's how it went. Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the DRC. We are in the western little strip of the DRC, tucked right in between the two different parts of Angola. We have the mainland, and then we are continuing north up to Cabinda, which is this little enclave of Angola, which is actually separated from the mainland there, but it is a very vital part of Angola because just off the shore of Cabinda, they mine 90% of the country's oil. So a lot of the wealth of Angola comes from this tiny little part in this northern region tucked between the two Congos. So it's a very interesting little enclave of Angola. And again, we are on a long trip working our way up the west coast of Africa, slowly working our way north. And we just finished about 3 days in the DRC, checking out a few of the small towns, some of the crazy hectic markets. It's been a crazy country and a lot of bush camping as we've been working our way up the DRC. So yeah, anyways, we ended up camping last night. We ended up finishing in Muanda, the little coastal town of the DRC, checking out the beach area there. And then we've worked our way almost to the border of Cabinda. We're probably only about 5 miles from the border here. Found a little bush camp in this sandy little area here tucked away off the main road, although the main road going from Muanda to Cabinda is just kind of like this sandy gravel road, but it's crazy because you have all of these trucks that are freighting things from Cabinda to Luanda and vice versa. So yeah, anyways, it's going to be just like an interesting place. I don't know if there's a lot to see or do in Cabinda, but just geographically and geopolitically a very interesting part of Angola that we're going to be checking out today. So yeah, anyways, we're just having breakfast here. It's a very rainy day today again. Again, we're hitting the rainy season of West Africa. So it's been pretty tough camping and everything in this like very wet, humid environment. But yeah, gonna be having breakfast, packing up the truck, and then we're gonna work our way to Cabinda. We have just driven the like 4 or 5 miles from our campsite to the border here, but it took like half an hour because as you saw, those roads were just crazy. We were driving over this really bumpy sand on this like very single lane road. It was crazy. That is the road to the border here. But we have made it to the border of DRC. It hasn't quite opened yet, but there's like a huge lineup of trucks that are going from the DRC into Cabinda. So eventually we'll go through immigration here, but we're just waiting for a little bit until the border opens up, and then we'll be back in Angola. It is 11 a.m. We got here at 8 a.m. It took 3 hours just to leave the DRC. This is how West Africa is. It's a lot of sitting around, a lot of waiting. We didn't even know what we were waiting for. For a while we were waiting for the big boss to show up, and then just a lot of confusion, and then finally we got all of our passports through, and then they're like, oh, you need to go to the sanitation center, show them our vaccine cards. And anyways, hopefully now we're gonna be loading up the truck and heading out of the DRC, but we still have to enter Angola. So the border process isn't quite done yet. But let's go in and head over into Cabinda. just entered Angola for the second time, and immigration was a lot smoother entering Angola than it was leaving the DRC. And we are probably just about 15-20 miles to the city of Cabinda in the Cabinda enclave of Angola here. So yeah, pretty excited to be back in Angola after the DRC for a couple of days. That was pretty rough and hectic. So yeah, let's go check out Cabinda. Good afternoon and welcome to Cabinda, Angola. We have finally made it to the little city in the enclave of Angola that's wedged right between the DRC and the Congo here. And again, it's just like this tiny little part of Angola. So it was like a former Portuguese colony, and Angola, as we learned as we were traveling through the rest of Angola, is very oil rich, and most of the reserves of the oil in Angola are actually right off the coast of this little enclave of Cabinda here. So yeah, again, as we were driving through the city here, I was really surprised. I thought this would be a really wealthy area. I mean, as we saw with Luanda, you have these really impressive skyscrapers and like beautiful malls and beaches. But so far, I've not been too impressed with Cabinda here. It's kind of like these crazy, dirty, grungy streets a little bit. I was expecting a lot more infrastructure and some like bigger buildings and a display of a lot of that oil money, but we really haven't seen much at all. So anyways, we are camping right along the beach, right next to one of the main Catholic missionary churches here. But we have come to the center of the town of Cabinda. There's this nice little park here, and then we also have another old Portuguese cathedral here. So yeah, let's check out this central part of Cabinda, check out the church, check out the park a little bit, and show you guys a little bit of the downtown part of this city in the enclave of Angola. So right in front of that church here, there's this nice little park here. There's a small fountain. They have some benches. And then at the end of the park here, it looks like they're actually building the I Heart Cabinda sign right now. And then right behind that, there's a future refinery that they're going to be building here in Cabinda. So again, all of the oil that they're drilling offshore here needs to be shipped off and refined before brought back to Angola here to be used as actual like petrol. So in there's a little museum. It's closed now, but it shows you the future plans for the refinery of Cabinda. And then yeah, just a nice open park. And again, I don't think there's a lot to see or do here in the downtown part of Cabinda. We're gonna go for just a little walk along the downtown here, head to the port, see what else there is to see, and then eventually right back at the truck, there's another church and some statues right along the beach there. So yeah, let's just go for a little walk through downtown Cabinda, check out what this town's all about. We have just walked about a block and a half from that Central Park there area, and we've found this little local market where they're selling some really colorful clothes. We have some like souvenirs, some wood carvings, and yeah, just a small little market here in this little square. right across the street from that little touristy market with some of the colorful clothing, the wood carvings, we have the municipal market, which is a bit more of like a vegetable market and like a local clothing market here. Center of Cabinda town, after checking out the municipal market there, we walked down towards the port area of Cabinda, hoping we would get some views of the water, but it really was quite industrial and we didn't get too many views of the water at all. There was like a ferry terminal though, because you can take a boat from here to Soyo, which is on the northern part of the other part of Angola. So you can kind of take a boat around the DRC here. But then we ended up walking along the coastline a little bit back to the Catholic mission. And again, this is where we're actually staying tonight. And this church was built in 1891 and it just has this yellow and orange facade to it. Unfortunately, it's not open, so you won't be able to see the inside, but it's facing the ocean. So right across the street, you have this beautiful view of the water. And then along the edge here, you have some nice paintings along this like courtyard parking lot area. So we have just about an hour before the sun is setting, so we're just gonna walk right across the street here. There's like a little sculpture garden there that has like a famous statue of one of the popes. So let's head over there, check out that, and check out some views of the ocean here in Cabinda. I've literally just walked right across the street from the Catholic mission there, and there's this little like sculpture garden that's right on the ocean. So you have this beautiful view of the coastline back there. The sun is setting over the Atlantic coast, and then you have this giant statue of Pope John II, and then you have some other like crucifixes, and then there's some other statues I'm assuming are like old church leaders here at the Catholic mission in Cabinda. But then just like probably like 100 meters from here, it looks like there's a beautiful coastline beach there that's like lined with palm trees. So I think we're gonna head there for sunset and watch the sunset over the Atlantic Ocean here in Cabinda. So yeah, let's just head over there and check that out. I've just come down the road a little bit from the statue park here, and I've made it to the long beach of Cabinda here. And it's almost like this darker blackish sand beach, and it just has this beautiful kind of like rugged coastline. You have all these palm trees, you have a couple of boats just hanging out right on the water there. And yeah, just actually a beautiful beach here. And we have the sun setting on the west coast here over the Atlantic, and to think just out there along the coastline, not too far, is all of the oil that's being drilled that's making this one of the wealthiest per capita countries in the world. Yet again, just here in Cabinda, you do not see the wealth, you don't see the money hardly at all. I was really surprised. In Luanda, you got to see a little bit more of that with some beautiful skyscrapers, some really nice promenades, some nice architecture, but here, this is not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be like a mini Luanda or such. But yeah, anyways, that's the little enclave of Angola. Again, as I saw today, there really wasn't too much to see. It's not a very touristy place. But again, you're just kind of wedged right between these Congos, which is a very geographically interesting place, very resource interesting because you have obviously the oil, but then a lot of like other rare earth minerals and natural resources in this little strip of Angola that's separated from the rest of the country. So yeah, tomorrow we're going to be driving the rest of Cabinda up north and eventually heading up into the Republic of Congo, which will be our next country on our expedition up the northwest coast of Africa. But yeah, very cool. Glad we got to see Cabinda. I was super curious what it was like. Again, I wouldn't recommend going out of your way to come here, but it was interesting to see along the way. Anyways, that's it Thank you to the Catholic Mission for allowing us to camp here for the night, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time when we explore the Republic of Congo.